Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from around the world today, and welcome to Why Your Company Should Be Excited About Business Analysis. My name is Keith Ellis, and I'm the chair of IIBA, and I'm also your moderator for today's session. Today, we're bringing forward three fantastic business leaders in the business analysis community to talk about their stories of how business analysis helped transform their companies. Wilna, Scott, Mosen, thank you for joining us. I'd also like to make today's session and webinar about you, the participants. It's about answering your questions. And so let's do a quick test for those of you who haven't done this. Find the Q&A area. Tell me what city and country you're dialing in from today. That's how you're going to ask questions. Now, it might be, like, we've got 1,200 people online today, so it might be that we don't get a chance to get to everybody's question, but the team at IIBA is committed to getting back to you and answering those questions. We have a lot of them: St. Louis, Winnipeg, Lisbon, Burlington. Wow, this is scrolling really fast. Eugene, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Dublin. Fantastic. People joining us from around the world today in this session. And I see Calgary. You guys are right around the corner from where I am right now. Let me advance forward and just kind of continue to talk. We've got, and guys, listen, I really think that logo at the bottom is way more important than that face in the middle of the page. When I think of IIBA, I really think of being part of something special. When I think of our new CEO, Delvin Fletcher, I see how he's focused on community and connections and listening and assessing and taking considered action. When I think of that logo on the bottom of that page, it's that sharing of ideas with like-minded professionals and that joy we experience when we're great at what we do. That's, to me, the heart of IIBA. And let me leave you with this one thought. Business analysis, would you agree with me? Business analysis is a team sport. Be connected, and I encourage you to join together with IIBA. So for those participating today, because there's a lot of people here who may not know IIBA, you know, you're connecting in for the first time and really getting some exposure. We're in a period of wonderful growth. It's fantastic. We have a thriving ecosystem of partners with over 300 corporate members, 250 endorsed education providers, 120 chapters around the world, some of them doing such fantastic things like what's going on in Egypt right now. 30,000 members, and we are, or IIBA is, the absolute global standard for business analysis related certification programs, the industry standards in that area. Gosh, things like 10,000, 15,000 different, articles on the IIBA site. And, so it's got tremendous information on industry standards and career support. And I encourage you all to join me in being part of IIBA. Why are we here today? Today's webinar is about value. Why should you be excited? Well, it's because business analysis is a thriving career, right? And it's one of the most sought after skills in the market today. But, when you think about it from a company perspective, your company wants value. And underlying the presentations today, I think you're going to hear one common theme. Business analysis enables transformation. It's easy to have a great idea, but then you have to, then all the hard work starts, right? And for an executive, who do you turn to? How do you transform? Like, when you think about it, organizations are so flat today. They're in transformation, the amount or the pace of change is accelerating so quickly. It's like drinking from a fire hose. So who helps you with that? And I think that, and I challenge you to say that that's really the business analysis team that does that. So you have to step back and say, well, how do you transform from an idea to a clear plan of execution in a consistent way? How do you do that faster and faster and faster today? And it's that translation from vision to action. And that's really where business analysis excels. And so, hey, by the way, I get to do, the advertising section of today's session. By the way, there's only one of these. So I really want to highlight Kelly's group in the corporate program. with over 300 organizations around the globe participating in that program. Like, I encourage you to talk to Kelly Frankhauser or Jeff Roth or anybody with that near perfect client satisfaction deserves a shout out. And Kelly is the one who brought together the team of participants in the session today. The IIBA corporate program is really about access to the enterprise resources and BA leader resources, like our leader webinars and the benchmark reports that we have in that area. That program is fantastic in its ability to connect leaders from around the world who are helping to transform what's going on in their company with other leaders. So there's like 300 business analysis leadership communities. And so how do you connect with your peers, and how do you see what other people are going through? And you need that ability to connect with somebody who is facing similar challenges to yourself. And that's what Kelly and her team are just fantastic at. And finally, it's really about leadership and influencing the direction of both the program itself and IIBA itself. And, it's that idea of you need to listen with intensity. And Kelly is fantastic with Jeff and the other team members to drive that. Let's talk about business results now. And before we bring up our speakers today, let's talk about two themes that I heard when I listened to the stories. I get kind of privileged here, once in a while I get the preview of what people are going to talk about. And it really struck me that everybody is talking better business results. How do we do that, right? And IIBA and business analysis is really about delivering that better business outcome. And sometimes this gets lost in the detail as you're listening. So I want you to listen for certain themes as you talk. So much of this is driven by the pace of change, right? And it's driven by that pace of corporate desire for what are the competencies of change, and then how do I instantiate transformation in a more consistent way. And so when you hear these leaders talk, they were able to deliver that amazing result. That's underlying everything that they're talking about. It's that connection to value, but it's also that the leaders were intimately understood the pace of change at their organization and what was driving it. So they adapted techniques and practices that supported that pace. So how do we do things in a way that's going to be consistent with the way our organization wants to change and the pace our organization needs to accomplish when it changes? And then these leaders all said, well, we must have a set of core competencies. What does it mean to change and transform? How do we go and do that? And they all said, well, the essential core competencies are those competencies of the business analyst, right? And so it's really adapting that IIBA standard at the core of the organization to enable them to change. And then finally, they said, these guys are seasoned pros. You have to enable transformation. You have to show that success, not just do it quickly, not just do it consistently, but how do you wrap it into the real life things that are going on in the organization? So it's that idea of plugging in their excellence, right? How do we take what we have as a core raw capacity, business analysis, and connect that not only into outcomes that matter, but connect that into transformations that really matter, right? And then we go further and we say, as I listened to those stories, it's about bringing capacity and a capability in a way that matters. It's about maturing business analysis into a vibrant capability, meaning it's not that we can do it once, it's about consistent execution, right? Can we agree on that? And finally, it's about leadership and community. When we look at what these people are really doing, they're leading communities of hundreds or thousands of business analysts and helping them enable more consistent execution within their own organizations. I want to make this about the team that's that's presenting today, but I also want to hear your success stories. I would love to hear those success stories. And one of them just showed up in the Q&A area. But I told Jeff today, Jeff Roth, it's jeff.roth, R-O-T-H, at IIBA.org, that I was going to give out his email address because I want to hear your success stories. Send them to Jeff and make sure that we know what they are. But I also want to make sure that we talk through real life success stories today. And I want to do that by first and foremost introducing Wilna. Wilna Katsia is a senior manager and leader of the BA practice at Nedbank, and man, she's just an amazing person with lots of certifications and degrees, more certifications and degrees than I'll ever have. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's Wilna is passionate, and she's passionate about coaching, and she's passionate about mentoring business analysts, and she it's just that amazingly passionate, analytical, and creative mind, you know. And what I didn't know is what a little spare time she has, she builds fairy gardens and draws Zen tangles, which I thought was fantastic. I love that tidbit, and I wanted to share it with 1,200 of our friends today. So with that, can I turn it over to you, Wilna, to carry the conversation?
Thank you, Keith. Yes, and thank you for inviting me. Hello, everybody. Nedbank Group's primary market is South Africa. However, we are continuing to expand into the rest of Africa, and we have strategic alliances across the globe. In fact, our history traces back to the early 19th century. One of our strategic objectives is to deliver innovative, market-leading client experiences. And as you can see from this slide, all the awards that we received this year alone speaks for itself. We have got 32,000 employees in Nedbank, and in the BA Practice Center, there are 3 of us, and we service 300 BAs. Nedbank is equally passionate about our staff, and it is really a great company to work for. Now, the rapid change in the virtual world forced BAs to step up. Value-based business analysis is critical for success because BAs enable change. We do not see problems, we solve them. As a mindset, a discipline, and a manner of thinking, when approaching business problems and their solutions, business analysis will never become obsolete. We cannot be automated. As we cross the chasm into the digital world that is characterized by agility, customer centricity, evolving needs, and innovation, we have no choice but to gain mastery over these best practices. That is why I believe key-shaped individuals can help navigate the new business reality by applying BA skills. The core of business analysis remains the same in the digital world. How we practice business analysis changes. The knowledge areas, tasks, and competencies, as described in the BA BOK guide, remain relevant, and these fundamental best practices are critical in the evolving digital world, now more than ever. It is equally important that we upskill our BAs to become future fit and remain relevant. I will elaborate in more detail on how we ensure our BAs are key-shaped just now. As a developing country, South Africa operates in a very difficult macroeconomic environment. You can go one back, please, Keith. We have multifaceted demographics that include people of diverse origins, cultures, and languages. For example, we have 11 official languages in South Africa. English is not the first language of many of our staff or customers. And by equipping our BAs with world-class capabilities and excellent facilitation and collaboration skills, we turn these constraints into strengths. And then something very profound that Angela Wick said to me one day, she said that BAs are no longer the bridge between business analysis and IT. We are actually the hands that hold the bridge up, and we bring people together to collaborate. Now, foundational business analysis skills is still very much in demand. In fact, business analysis is the number 6 most in demand hard skill in 2020. It jumped up from number 16 last year. And BAs also still have the skills that are most in demand in terms of soft skills in 2020. They're all embedded in the underlying BA competencies that we read about in the BA body of knowledge. Also very interesting is that LinkedIn advertised 45,000 BA jobs in the past month, and that grew from 38,000 in March, and that was during a worldwide lockdown. So that is very excited to know. Thank you, Keith. Now we can go to the next slide. So next, I want to share with you briefly how we continuously improve our BA practice to deliver results and to ensure that our organization remains excited about our profession. We did this by establishing our BA practice We're aligning our practices and frameworks to the IIBA and the BA body of knowledge, and of course the Agile extension and the BA competency model as well. And then we benchmark and validate our capabilities against IIBA standards. So I will highlight just a few of the bullet points because the slide will be shared with you. I just want to extract some of the important things. In terms of setting up and establishing your BA practice, it's very important to get executive buy-in and have a formal mandate to set up a BA practice, because when the leaders buy in, the adoption is much easier. Partner with your learning and development team to help you upskill your BAs. Communicate with your BAs regularly and have some fun and be creative in some of those communications. Focus on continuous improvement. The IIBA shares great content that you can use for this. And if you're a corporate member, you have access to a wealth of information. Have regular community of practice events and make them fun. And please make business analysis cool. In terms of building our BA framework and aligning to the BA body of knowledge, partner with the IIBA. Corporate membership has many advantages, and in the past year, and we're lucky enough to be able to renew this year, we've learned so much and we've gained so much knowledge, and we've shared it with our whole enterprise. Align your frameworks and your standard to the BABOK guide, to the Agile extension. Base your roles and career paths on the business analysis competency model. Educate your BAs, your stakeholders, and your partners about what business analysis is about. And that becomes very easy when you can reference that you are a corporate member and that they set the industry standards. And then be passionate about your framework. And lastly, it's important for us to benchmark. So every 3 years, we benchmark our capabilities. We ask one of our reputable audit firms in South Africa to do a benchmarking exercise against the BABOK and against peers in South Africa. And KPMG said in our last benchmarking that Nedbank's BA practice center functions according to a world-class practice center, and that we are a clear market leader in comparison to our peers, which is a great stamp of approval for us. So we are very proud of our BA practice. Thank you, Keith. Keith, you can go. Yes, thank you. So I mentioned earlier that we believe that our BA should be key-shaped, not just T-shaped. On the left-hand side, and again, I'm not going to read through the whole slide. On the left-hand side are really the underlying competencies, those soft skills that make us great people and passionate about what we do. The middle of the key is all the BA foundational skills, your 6 knowledge areas, your strategy horizon, your initiative and delivery horizon as described in the Agile extension, and then all our 74 techniques in the BA box. That forms the core and the foundation of our role as BAs. Now on the right-hand side, that is really what makes us multi-skilled individuals that are future fit. And those are the perspectives that are mentioned in the BA body of knowledge, but also the emerging perspectives: design thinking, customer experience, digital DevOps, and a lot of those techniques that they follow in design thinking, DevOps, customer experience are techniques that we as BAs do in any case. So it's a natural progression for us, and it also makes us cross-functional, which helps us add so much more value in terms of the services we deliver to business. I hope that you enjoyed the slide and that there's some takeaways that you can implement as well. And thank you again, Keith, for inviting me and for partnering with us on our journey to remain world class. Like you say, the IIBA really is something special, and it does help us plug into the excellence that you were talking about. Thank you so much.
Wilna, thank you so much for that. And I have a bunch of questions that are coming in for you on the line today, and certainly, more are coming in as we go, and I'll field those over to you. But one of the first ones that hit me between the eyes is, how did you make BA cool at Nedbank?
Okay, so we have, for example, in our BA community of practice events, we have market days, and then we invite BAs from the whole enterprise And we have many open areas in our main campus. We have a market day there. We have many stalls, and we get BAs from the enterprise to come and also present their success stories. We present our tools. We always present our practice center and our services. And the fun thing about that is we can really decorate. We have smileys. We have a robot in Nedbank. Her name is Pepper, and she's actually very friendly, and she's a crowd pleaser as well. So we always invite Pepper to come because people come and take selfies with Pepper, and they dance with her and they have fun. So it's not just to sit down in a cinema style and listen to one speaker. We don't do that. We have lots of creative ideas and lots of creative people that help us at our community of practice events.
I'm going to pull in one and hopefully maybe two questions more. How do you feel that and this is from Mayor Nack, and I apologize if I've messed up the name there. Do you feel the IIBA standards has helped you deliver success in projects at Nedbank?
Absolutely, because no one can debate with us that we are not right, because we just pull out the babok and we throw it at them. And I always say to people when they ask, but why? Why must we do this? I say because the IIBA consists of experts in the field. It's the international recognized standard, and here is the body of knowledge. Now, no one can argue with that. And the fact is also we are able, when we follow those standards and guidelines, we are able to practice our business analysis in a standard, consistent manner. So business knows exactly what to expect of us. And I often speak to business partners who are not BAs, and I take them through the knowledge areas. I tell them about our 74 techniques. And why I said that picture that I shared with you where Angela told me to bring the BAs, or the BAs are the hands that hold the bridge up and bring people onto the bridge. Before we were in lockdown and you could look people in the eye, the minute you tell them that, you can actually see that light come on, and you can see how excited people are about what it really means to be BAs. You don't run to business and ask them stuff and then run to IT and tell them what business wants anymore. So absolutely.
And Wilna, I'm going to give you one more tough one, and I think we got about a minute for it, and it's from Kate Ewan. How did you keep the community of practice interesting? What were some of the topics or themes that you focused on to keep that interesting?
Yes, so we focus a lot on emerging trends, and we get a lot of that information from the IIBA website. There's a lot of things that you publish that's latest and greatest out there that we share with the BAs, because they also want to continuously grow and learn. That's what we do. I can talk forever because I'm really passionate.
And we want to let Scott go, so thank you so much. Wilna, let's come in and bring it over to Scott, and he's the Vice President for North Highland Consulting. Wow, how do we tie BAs into the sales side of life? It's an interesting idea. He's the USE lead for managed services, and he's a huge advocate and champion for business analysis for those who make it a profession. On most weekends, you can find Scott floating in the northern Gulf of Mexico off the north coast of Florida. I think Scott leads a very difficult life. He's an inshore kayak fisherman, and I love Scott for this next quote. Because when you talk to Scott about fishing, the first thing he'll say is how much he loves it, and then the second thing he'll say is, he'll remind me that fishing is actually called fishing, and it's not called catching anything. So there you go. Scott, can I turn it over to you to talk to the team? Oh, and you're on mute.
Yeah. Nope. I got it. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. An excellent presentation, Wilna. Thank you. On behalf of all of us at North Highland, thank you for having us. We're hugely excited about business analysis. We are a global consulting firm and previously changed the model of how a consultancy serves its clients. We do work with some of the largest organizations in the world, businesses, governments, and nonprofits, to achieve exceptional results. We are headquartered in the US in Atlanta, Georgia. We are a private company, employee owned, and we have been ranked as the US Consulting Magazine's 2019 Best Firms to Work. So at North Highland, we do instill agile ways of working into our consulting approach. And this encourages experimentation around value, design, model, new ways of working, and building capabilities. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, our journey to build our BA capability. So next, Keith. All right. So as a leading change and transformation consultancy, we understand the magnitude and the risk our clients face meeting their defined outcomes of transformations. Transformations are hard, they're long, and many things evolve over time. With people and culture at the core of transformation, we all know it must be complicated, right? So how difficult are transformations? Well, according to Torben Rick, 70% of all transformations fail to reach their desired outcomes. So as we're building a BA capability, that's an important number. How do we improve that? Let's look into the why. All right, so when we start looking, a little bit of root cause analysis and the obstacles that hinder success to transformations, we certainly notice, across categories of direction, alignment, execution, and value, a few things start to look very familiar, especially, to our more experienced BAs in our practice. So Keith, if you could just do a little click, and the things that we start to notice, unclear vision for the future, lack of buy-in at all levels, poor execution and planning, weak technical infrastructure to support the solutions, and weak measures of success. So all those things relate to sources of transformation failure. And this was taken from a survey we sponsored of more than 200, vice president level and above executives in the US and the UK. Those things were familiar to us, and they should certainly be somewhat familiar to you. Keith? All right, so what we have here, we're building a BA capability, right? We want to build maturity into it. We want to build innovation. We want to make sure it's driven by innovation. We definitely want it to be a significant practice with viability. And based on the root causes we found, you can see on the left, and with Keith clicks, it'll appear to, move our eyes there. What we see here are the areas related to the knowledge areas in the BA bot, right? So when we're solving a problem and our BAs are solving a problem and we're building our BA practice, and we look across the normal, a standard SDLC or life cycle, right? IIBA and the BA BOC, it creates such a wonderful framework, and it's very important. And we know that from vision to implementation, it's important because truly there is only one capability or one profession that really touches everything from idea to dollars, I like to say it, or concept to commercialization. And we all know what profession and capability that represents, right? It's business analysis. So yes, at North Highland, we're hugely excited about business analysis and what we can do together. So going to the next slide, Keith, we did set a goal in building the practice that we wanted to be recognized for our focus areas, with BA being one of them, in 10 years. We actually accelerated this, and we're talking, we're in a competitive market space. So we're talking the market analysts from ALM, Forrester, Gartner, and Source Global. So we wanted to make sure we are measured and benchmarked to the best that these analysts look at it in the marketplace. And we certainly achieved some of those goals that we set quickly. So in 3 years, we've been recognized as a top 10 provider in 7 areas of consulting, right? So that really speaks to our goal to cultivate leading solutions and transformations for our clients. We certainly compete in these spaces with firms that are much larger than us. So we certainly have to rise and shine above. So specific to BA, the business analysis in our practice leads, John Fraser in the US and Ross Capel in the UK, when we're working through, the workforce of the future in our BA practice, there you can see their quote there. North Highland continues to cultivate and educate our client. We're all in this together. Our IIBA corporate membership has resulted in numerous study groups in preparation for multiple certifications. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And it's certainly something that we're very proud of. It's certainly something that we've latched onto. If we go to the next slide, Keith, we'll start to see some results. And back to it, we look at our business analysis capability through three basic lenses, right? We think about people enablement, and as Keith pointed out in the beginning, we think about sales enablement and people engagement, right? So those things are all important. To allow for the people engagement, we view this as a one-team concept. We believe in a very strong and deeply rooted relationships and engaging people who can bring their whole selves to work and discover the maker within. So this really drives engagement. It creates a one team, and it's certainly it's tremendously important to building a sustainable practice for our BAs. Because we are a business, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a mindset for growth. Sales enablement is obviously important in that context. So with sales enablement, it certainly represents a bias for action now. As a BA or a business analyst and our consultants, they're both combined. We have BAs who are consultants. We listen first and move quickly and smartly to return value and deliver real results. So that really drives to our growth. And then finally, with our people enablement, that goes hand in hand with building a lasting capability. This is the greatest influence from IIBA that we've seen. And this relationship has definitely correlated to some of the outcomes that we were looking for. You can see them at the bottom. We call them our big BA wins during our IIBA program. We've seen an 18% improvement in employee engagement. So, engagement from our BAs. That's hugely important, especially being able to create a standard around our delivery mechanisms and also providing a development path and taking, an enterprise view. And then for our sales, very subtly, we, when we go into our clients and just like we heard from Wilna, it's very important to go to market with a standard. So IIBA gives us the ability to bring all those things together: people enablement, people engagement, and also our sales enablement. Finally, 45%. We realized a 45% increase in upskilling, for our BAs, and a lot of this is through certification preparations, which is very important, to our firm, to our clients, and to the individuals involved. So with that, we are at the end of North Highland's presentation, and again, on behalf of North Highland, and our BA practice leaders, Ross Capel in the UK, John Fraser in the US, we're hugely excited about business analysis, and thank you for listening. Back to you, Keith.
Scott, we have some great questions popping in on the line. One of the first ones that came in, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic, and hopefully you can answer it quick, is from Fabricio, and he's saying, Scott, would you say the consultant as a role is exactly the same as a business analyst? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is an interesting question, and for us, it's a very simple answer. The answer is yes. There is no differentiation between a business analyst. Obviously, we're consultants. We have different work groups of consultants. They're all consultants by nature. If we think about some of the roles that our consultants play, they play the exact role as a principal BA, lead BA, senior BA at our clients who are going through major transformations. So tightly integrated with our clients and working with other BAs when we're in a more of a complementing capacity role, then internally, without question, BAs are an internal consultant. And I mentioned it, and this is something that I really advocate internally and with our client, and I certainly don't need to advocate it to the BAs in the crowd, Keith. It really is the only profession that has a material involvement in the problems that we're trying to solve, or the value we're trying to gain from idea to dollar, right? There is no other capability that has that direct relationship. And sure, the PM's in the crowd, but it's a facilitative role. Change managers, facilitative role. Strategy people, that's an upfront. Tech people, a lot of times, mid to late part in the life cycle, right? So yeah, absolutely. I think BA in any realm is a consultant. That's a great question.
Scott, I'm going to give you one last one, and it's coming in from Jerry. And Jerry is asking, you mentioned BA in sales. How do BAs work in sales, and is that a transition path?
So two questions I kind of heard, and let me break it up and just out of respect to time. Do we see BAs in a sales role? 100% without question. The very simple reason is when you engage in a meaningful discussion about value, outcomes, measures, process, how you manage stakeholders, how you elicit requirements, there is only one person on our team or one skill set that we really want, to do that and bring credibility to the table, and that's a BA. So some of our BAs, we are, that's kind of a later career as you get more involved, especially our principal and principal direct or BA directors, that we start to measure that. And I think it's a very natural transition. So we certainly look for our BAs to get involved in that. It's something we just started recently doing. Yeah. Thank you, Keith.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. That was a fantastic summary, and I've got a lot more questions we're picking up here that I'm going to also, get some time at the end to answer. Let me bring up Mohsen, and Mohsen Akvania is senior manager over at Royal Bank of Canada, one of the world's largest banks. He's a CBAP with a master's degree, and wow, just focused in also on data science and machine learning. And Mohsen is a footballer. This is the everyone's opportunity to diss a guy who's totally crazed about Chelsea and a Chelsea fan. So if you want to pop that in on the Q&A area and trash talk Chelsea, I'm all for that. He's it's a darn good thing that business analysis is not a contact sport, because Mohsen, I think you've probably broken more bones playing football, as soccer, as they call it in North America, than anybody else. So, Mohsen, over to you. Fantastic that you're joining us here today.
Thank you, Keith. And honestly, I cannot wait for this pandemic to be over and I can go back to playing soccer again. Maybe I break more bones. And hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We heard two amazing stories on how organizations are excited about business analysis. Similar to other organizations at the Royal Bank of Canada, we understand and the importance of the role of business analysts and the prominent role they play in the success of the organizations. So today I want to share with you on how we are looking at the business analysis practice and how we support the community of business analysis practitioners. A little bit about our group. The Requirements Center of Excellence is a group in our organization which is responsible for defining the strategic directions and standards for the business analysis practice and how we deal with requirements. We are also responsible for development and support of the BA community in our organizations. Just to provide you with some level of understanding about the scale of support that we need to provide to our practitioners, I'm sharing some facts here with you from the BA community at RBC. We have almost 900 practitioners who are officially titled as business analysts at RBC, and we have many more who are playing that role without having that title. These BAs are working in both agile and non-agile methodology, so their way of work is different. And also, our BAs are working in both business and technology projects and product development. With that, let's look into our structure and the pillars to support the RBC BA community. At the requirements COE, we support our community in three important aspects: people, process, and tools. By people, we are referring to all the BAs working in different segments of our large enterprise who are working in various projects and using different methodologies. The process aspect of it is the set of business analysis activities and best practices that we define for the practitioners so that they can execute their BA practices within the boundaries of enterprise frameworks and the delivery methodology that they are using. And finally, with our tooling strategy, we make sure that our BAs have the right tool to perform productively and effectively. Let's double click on each of these pillars in the next few slides. The education of our BAs is in both technical and professional competencies is very important for us. So we always look for different ways to develop our BA skills. We also, to have a better support for our BAs, we found certifications a very good way to streamline and measure the technical skills for our BAs. And as part of this people strategy, we were looking for ways to make the onboarding of BAs on projects faster, and while expecting a consistent behavior from all BAs in agile and non-agile projects. So these are the objectives that we had when we're talking about the people aspect of our plans. So the approach we took to support our people was we designed a BA practitioner development life cycle, which consists of a 360-degree assessment, which is being executed by BAs and their team members and managers. And the result of it is going to be defining the annual goal for those BAs. And for that, we use IIBA competency model as the reference for designing that framework. And as I mentioned, we are supporting the certification. So since the last 2 years, we joined the corporate partnership with IIBA. We have been promoting IIBA certifications along with other certifications for business analysis. And this is greatly helping our BAs to improve their technical skills. In the next slide, in the process, we're talking about our process that we're designing at RBC for BAs is not only targeting the BAs, but it is also helping other stakeholders to work with the BAs and contribute in the business analysis practices. It is going to help a better transition for those teams that are moving from non-agile way of work to agile. So it is elaborating on that. And it is very important for us to make sure that our practitioners have that business goal and project objectives in mind while they are working in the processes and during the projects. So with having those objectives, the approach that we took, we used BABOK and Agile Extension of IIBA as the main references for the practice. And also in the Agile aspect mainly, we emphasize on the practice of business analysis rather than the titles. You know that whole concept that a lot of people are believing that there is no role for business analysts in Agile world. That's not the case here. So in that process, we are targeting that. And lastly, with our tool strategy in the next slide, it is very challenging to kind of guarantee that BA results are being produced and maintained in a consistent form across many projects and programs that we have in a large enterprise like Royal Bank of Canada. So we had to target that. We came up with we wanted to have a consistent strategy for utilizing a requirements repository across the projects and for all the requirements, artifacts. And finally, we want to make sure that we provide sufficient tools for business analysts and bring automation and end-to-end integration for them so that they work productively to perform their business analysis activities. And the approaches we took for that was to, first of all, standardize many tools that we have across the bank and define some sort of templates for requirement management in the enterprise. We encourage use of industry standards and notations rather than relying on just tool capabilities. So that is going to help us with standardization of practices regardless of the tools that we are using. And also, we are following the enterprise tooling strategies for business analysis as well. So that is going to help the BAs to collaborate better with other team members and people who are responsible for other disciplines like QA and development. Being on the same platform with them is going to help them to collaborate better. So in my last slide, I will be sharing some outcomes of this program that we had. Our plan for continuous professional development has been running for a couple of years, and it is very successful. It is kind of the main tool for business analysts to define their goals for the next year. With our plan on certifications, we received an award from IIBA on the advancement of professional development in business analysis last year. That is a good sign for us and encourages us to continue pushing those certifications and support the education of our business analysts. With the Agile aspect and transformation to Agile, we clearly see improved agility and reusability in business analysis. And finally, and this is, to me, it is very important these days, that not only our business analysts, practitioners are being recognized as an important role in Agile teams, but also they are the drivers of Agile transformation. So if you have heard that business analysts don't have a role in Agile teams, that's not the case at RBC. So thank you again for giving me the time today and listening to my story. And hopefully at the Requirement Center of Excellence, we can continue supporting our BAs at RBC. Thank you, Keith.
Mohsen, thank you so much. What a fantastic and insightful set of comments. And by the way, you know I'm joking with you about your team, but it does look like it's 50-50 in terms of people believing that they're going to win tonight or not. So let's look at one or two of these key questions, and I'm going to bring it back to questions for everybody, but I want to field one or two directly to you. There's a couple of people who have asked you about what tools you do use in the business analysis practice. I see that one coming in from Barbara, and I saw it coming in from another individual. Could you, from Sean, could you pick that off just quickly?
So as I mentioned, we have, with the 900 people, 80,000 employees, we're not kind of pushing that what tool business analysts in different segments should use, and that made our job much easier. But what we define for them is to emphasize on the standard, the industry-known standards and notations that we use. So for important things like, regardless of the methodology, that is what we believe. Whether you're agile or non-agile in waterfall, there are certain business analysis results that you have to maintain with the product in a larger enterprise, that products are going to last for many years, like data requirements, business rules, and all of those things. So we introduce industry-known notation and standards like decision modeling notation, like DPMN, and we make sure that those tools that BAs are using are compatible with these notations. So later on, if a tool is being decommissioned, we're not tied to that, and we can transition from tool to tool using that standard. And it is also helping them with the education of business analysts, because these are known and they are not we are not the bottleneck to teach them what to use. They can go to any external or internal resources to learn more about those notations and standards.
And Pamela Thomas is asking a great question around process. Are the non-BAs, like Scrum Masters and developers, are they taking BA training too, even if they're not going for certification?
So mainly in Agile teams, we are promoting this mindset that now as a solution team or whoever is working with the product owner, all of you are playing with that business analysis role. Some of our Agile teams, they have a dedicated BA, some of them they don't, and it is up to those team members to play that role. So there are definitely they are getting some level of Agile training, and with that, they reach out to us whenever they have to learn more about product backlog management or the timing of requirements if they have a question, and they are, especially when they are transitioning from other methodologies to Agile, about how they can get a sign off on a specific thing or how to document certain things, because all of them are collaborating. So officially they don't need to get that training, but naturally it happens, and they are referencing our processes to learn more about business analysis and employ those skills.
And so I think people are really fascinated by what's going on with Agile there. And so I'm going to field you one more question, Mohsen, if you don't mind, before we bring it back to the group. And this is coming in from Brian Fulton. We're with having both Agile and non-Agile projects, how do you help embrace the Agile mindset and approach to BAs who are moving into the Agile world for the first time? He's saying that they have a similar setup but struggle with that transition.
So this is a great question, and we have been, we try to kind of interpret that Agile concept and mindset for our business analysts. That's why there's we have our Agile transformation body at RBC, and we are helping also to interpret that for the role of business analysts. And it is very important for them. We're talking about the activities of business regarding the business analysis. So what is going to change for them in the Agile teams is that the nature of it is going to remain the same, but the timing of it, the way you're doing it, the way you're going to communicate it, instead of documenting everything, handing it over, is going to change. So we are helping them to understand that part of it. And we are also talking in different levels. Like we talk to the directors and the managers of BA to not expect the same way of work from business analysts, because it is important that when business analysts are working with the QAs and developers, they are the drivers there. They have to inform their business, the other team members, that I'm not going to hand over a fully detailed document for you. We are not going to pre-plan too much. This is a new way that you have to communicate with me as a business analyst. And yeah, there are many different aspects to that. I don't want to go to the details of it, but yeah, it is a challenging thing. But I think at RBC, we're targeting it in different levels to get to that.
Thank you so much, Mohsen. And if everybody else can come off mute, I want to bring it back into group discussion, kind of addressing some of these questions that are coming in. And I'm going to field one to all of you that I think is kind of a macro question coming in from Philip. And I'll just, Wilna, get you to give me one or two thoughts. Scott, Mohsen, if you could give one or two thoughts. Given, and this is from Philip Wallace, so given the seemingly obvious value of what everyone has discussed this morning, one would expect organizations to prioritize and adopt these practices and principles with urgency. What are some of the significant obstacles toward getting businesses to prioritize and adopt these practices? And how do you do it in a truly integrated manner across the entire organization? So, tougher question, but really going at the root of how do we push this forward inside firms. Wilna, can I turn it to you? Give me maybe one or two thoughts.
Yes, thank you, Philip. So that's in my presentation, I said it's important to get executive buy-in because it's just easier if it comes from the top. In terms of obstacles, I think it's also up to the BAs to show the value. The more value we as BAs show business, the more they buy in. What we do as a practice center, we align very closely to other centers of excellence in Nedbank. For example, we have the Agile House, which is our center of excellence for Agile. We have centers of excellence for data, our Lean project office, project management office. I make sure that I'm in regular contact with them. We sit in on POCLACs in the Spotify model, if you guys are familiar with that, so where we have a chance to also assist where necessary. But it really grows on the business. The more value we add as BAs, the more it grows on the business because they see the value. We've had some pockets of agile teams that said, no, we're agile now, we no longer need any of this. And then when it doesn't go that well, they realize that BAs do add a lot of value. And then they always come back and say, okay, can you come and help us?
Mm-hmm.
And
Sounds
how
great.
we integrated into the entire organization. Like I said, our BA community of practice event is open to everybody to enjoy and to come and attend. We send our communication out and then we share with the larger audience as well. But just that close alignment with the other centers of excellence and to share the role of the BA so that they understand what BAs are expected to do.
Thank you so much, Wilna. Scott, to you, and then over to you, Mohsen. So what are some of those significant obstacles? And, how do you then pull it together as a more integrated whole?
Right. So I'm going to echo what Wilna said on two things very quickly, just like anything. Of course, you ask a question like that to a bunch of professional VAs, Keith, and you get the right answer, right? So executive sponsorship, or you need to have a champion at the right level, and that is to the value there is it breaks down any internal barriers that may there. All organizations have internal barriers. And then secondly, if there's any investment that requires resources, either time or capital, then there needs to be that. And really the way to get the executive sponsorship, and I think she said it, is to show the value or create the right business case, we would say, as a shorthand. And taking a longer view on what it is. So getting it in the door, how we get it out. You also, I think, need a voice. And my experience with VAs, for the most part, is a very humble lot, right? Just and so there needs to be a voice over and above that, right, that says, hey, you need to see these accomplishments. So making that visible, and also what Wilma said, just kind of communicating internally on a consistent basis and advertising the win and the value of developing that skill set, because it's the most versatile profession that we have, really.
That's fantastic. Mohsen, anything you want to add to that particular one?
So I agree with both the panelists on the strategic guideline for the transformation and the support for the leadership. But one thing that I experienced working with the practitioners in practitioner level was that sometimes they think that change and transformation is difficult. So whenever the challenge happened and there's a team that is coming to us, it's how we should do that. It is very difficult. It is a bank and we cannot do that. We work with them. We run some POC, especially in this agile transformation, and we define sample projects. We POC it with certain groups and we share it across the bank. So those lessons learned that we're sharing with certain groups is going to help others to move forward with the transformation.
That's fantastic. I'm going to take this one last question, again, field it to the team because we're at the top of the hour and I don't want to go too overtime. But, Wayne Spiller has given us a fantastic question. By the way, guys, we have like 400 questions that have come in, so we're not going to get to all of them today. But and I'm going to start with you, Scott, what is a good way to improve confidence of a BA team? Half my team is less than 3 years of BA experience. That's a fantastic question to end on, I think.
That's a great question. That even might, that might go back to humility. It's not an easy profession. So what we do to boost the confidence, we actually have a squad I think there's mentorship that's important in how we team, our younger kind of early career BAs, how we align them, and we do that all the way up. So I operate very closely with our lead BAs, because we're expecting everybody to continue to develop their career. So I think mentorship is a really big key. I think I think that's where IIBA comes in really. We have study groups. I think our BAs just form study groups on their own to take advantage at the level of involvement with IIBA that we are. So they created study groups, and I think getting amongst their peers in a safe place. And driving towards certification. And then I think, just the recognition, right? So there's, I think IIBA, as has a good program to work into that. And there's, multi-step process potentially to get to the CVAP. And then there's also the extension. So I think, working with, the early career folks to get past those certifications is an understated value.
That's fantastic. And I think we're just kind of out of time today, so I'd love to also have Wilna and Mohsen, your views on that. I think we're just out of time today. Thank you, everybody, for your participation, for the amazing questions that we have, and thank you, Wilna, Scott, and Mohsen, for the content that you provided. It is awesome what you guys are doing for your organizations and the depth and breadth of your practices. You can see how sophisticated they are. You can see the value that's being delivered. I think a final message to everybody, this whole world as we look at it, it's about enabling that transformation. It's about enabling the speed of that transformation at the pace that that company wants to go at, and BAs and business analysis broadly being at the heart of all those things. And IIBA, I want to remind people to reach out to Kelly. Kelly, you've been fantastic in bringing together the people to do this. Reach out and talk to her about that corporate programs that we're running and broadly getting engaged with IIBA. I would encourage all of you to think about that and the global corporate program. With that, thank you everybody for participating today. Almost 1,000 people coming in, and I wish you all great success. Cheers.